Hello and welcome again to another day of classes. Today we're going to be continuing with the Interchange 5th edition level 2, the blue book, and today we're going to be starting with the unit 12. As always, we're going to be starting with the vocabulary or the language summary for this unit. So, let's jump right in. Okay, we're going to be starting with nouns. Audience. The audience is the assembled spectators or listeners at a public event such as a play, film, concert, or meeting. Basically, an audience is all of the people that are listening to you or watching you. For example, you, the people that watch my videos, are my audience. Audition. An audition is an interview for a role or job as a singer, actor, dancer, or musician, consisting of a practical demonstration of the candidate's suitability and skill. So basically, the audition is the interview where you show that you're good for the job of a singer, like singing in a play, dancing, or any other thing. It's basically like job interviews for artists. Celebrity. It's a famous person, especially in entertainment or sports. All of the famous people, you can say that they are celebrities. But it is usually referring to entertainment, okay? Or sports. Childhood. The childhood is the state or period of being a child. When you're a kid, you're in your childhood. Classical music. Serious music following long-established principles rather than a folk, jazz, or popular tradition. Classical music was the first type of music that was popular in the past, like in the 1700s and those kind of years. And they are not usually like so popular. Usually classical music it's aimed to a more older people or some more sophisticated people. Deaf. When you're deaf, you lack the power of hearing or having impaired hearing. Basically, when you're deaf, it's when you cannot hear with your ears. Okay? That is being deaf. Disability. Disability is a physical or mental condition that limits a person's movements, senses, or activities. For example, if you are missing a leg or you cannot walk, you are disabled or you have a disability. Effect. It's a change which is a result of consequence of an action or other cause. You do things, those are the causes, and you have results, and those are the effects. Basically, the effect is what happened after you do something. Ending. An end of a final part of something. When you're watching a TV series and the last episodes come in, that is the ending. Flat tire. A flat tire is when this happens. Your tire becomes flat. It's not round. Now it's flat. Fork. This is a fork. Do not use it with soup. Knife. These are knives. You can use it to cut food, not people. Do not cut people with knives. That's bad. Hearing aid. Hearing aid is a type of electronics or technology that helps deaf people, remember this? Deaf people, actually this is a hearing aid, to listen because they cannot listen by themselves, so they use this kind of products to listen. Influence. The capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of some or something, or the effect itself. In other words, the influence is how you change the perspectives of different people. If you think in a way, and a lot of people start to feel and think in the same way as you, you're influencing them. Or you can say that you have the influence in them. A wallet. This is a wallet. You use it to store your money, credit cards, etc. Luck. Luck is basically when good things happen to you out of nowhere or bad things happen to you out of nowhere. It's like you're walking on the street and you find a 1,000 pesos bill, and oh, I am lucky, and that will be good luck. But imagine that you are the one walking on the street, you're gonna buy something, and then you look that you don't have that 1,000 pesos bill, and it was yours, so that's bad luck. Luck is something subjective. It can be good or bad, and some people say that it doesn't exist, but it's basically all related to coincidences. A nightmare, a frightening or unpleasant dream. When you are having a really bad dream where bad and scary stuff happen, those are called nightmares. Selfie. A selfie is a short form of saying self-portrait, and those are the pictures that you take by yourself to you and look at yourself, your portrait, your face. Sign language is a type of language that deaf people use or mute people use to communicate. Vibration. This is the vibration, the movement. My mouse is vibrating right now because I'm doing so. Okay, let's see some adjectives. Accidental, happening by chance, unintentionally, or unexpectedly. Something accidental is something that happens without you wanting to. Maybe you were playing and you throw the ball and it crashed this thing, and it was an accident. Amazed, greatly surprised or astonished. It's when something is really, really amazing. Then you feel amazed. Brilliant, of light of color, very bright. And if you're talking about a person, it's exceptionally clever or talented. If you're really good at something, you can say that you're brilliant. Calm, not showing or feeling nervousness, anger, or other strong emotions. When you're calm, everything is okay and nothing bothers you. Powerful, having great power or strange. When you have a lot of power, you're powerful. Quiet, making little or no noise. When you're silent, that is quiet. Spectacular, beautiful in a dramatic and eye-catching way. You can say that this view is spectacular. Surprising, this um, this person is looking at something really surprising. It surprises you a lot. Tiny, a mouse is tiny, and the opposite, the elephant, is huge. Worth, equivalent in value to the sum of intent or item specified. The worth of something is how valuable is something. For example, these shoes cost $17 million. Oh no, I would not pay that. Okay, let's see some verbs. Achieve, successfully bring about or reach a desired objective or result by effort, skill, or courage. When you complete something, when you get the thing that you want, you can say that you achieved that. If you want to become a doctor and you start being a doctor, you achieved that goal. To act, to take action, to do something. When you act, it's like when you are start performing in a play, for example. Break, separate into pieces as a result of a blow, shock, or a strain. To break is this. You can break this pencil. Burn. When you burn something is when you put fire to it. Compare. Estimate, measure, or note the similarity or dissimilarity between. It's basically when you look at the differences and similitudes of the two different things you're comparing. You say, oh, both of them are apples, but this one is green and this one is red. I am comparing. Crash of a vehicle. Collide violently with an obstacle or another vehicle. Basically, when you crash, it's when this happens. My God, this is made of steel because you know, it crushed this one, but this is the one that got damaged. Holy. Okay, let's continue. Drive someone crazy. To upset, irritate, or annoy one to the point of distraction. When you drive someone crazy, it's when you make them lose their nerve. They are tired of you. Look at this kid. This kid is driving his mom crazy. and he's so happy about it. Drum. To drum is to play on a drum, and this is a drum, and he is playing on a drum. So you can say that he is drumming. Hear. To perceive with the ear the sound made by someone or something. When you listen, you hear. Pick up. Collect something that has been left elsewhere. To pick up, it's basically to take something and put it close to you. It's usually when it's on the floor and you pick up. Realize. To become fully aware of something as a fact. Understand clearly. When you realize, it's when you start saying like, okay, you understand perfectly now. I know why this happens. Recognize. To identify someone or something from having encountered them before, known again. Basically, when you recognize someone, it's that, oh, you're that person that I met before. That is recognizing. Reply. To say something in response to something someone has said. When someone tells you something and you give an answer to that, you're replying. It's like on WhatsApp, you can reply to specific messages. Save money. When you save money, it's when you start putting all of your money or some part of your money into a place where you can use it later. Ski. This is a ski. You can ski in snow. Slip. This is a slip. And then you fall up. Okay? Spend money. When you spend money, you use your money to buy things. Spill. This coffee was normal, but then the person spilled it and now it's all over the table. That is a spill when something it's spread all over a table. Let's see some adverbs. Accidentally, by chance, inadvertently. Something accidentally that happens accidentally, it's basically when you were not expecting it to happen and it was a mistake. Coincidentally, in a way that results from chance despite being very unlikely. When something is coincidentally, and basically it happens and there is a like it's not it's hard for it to happen, but it still happens. Like going to a party with the same dress, that can be a coincidental. Fortunately, when something is fortunately, something the good things happen to you. But when it's unfortunately, it's the opposite. So bad things happen to you. For example, this person was driving in a plane and needed to get out of the plane, and fortunately, its parachute worked. But unfortunately, this one didn't work, and he's gonna die. Immediately. When something is done immediately, it means instantly, exactly at this time, right now. Luckily, it is with luck. Someone important died today. Luckily, it wasn't me. Miraculously. Something miraculously is something of a miracle. It's like something you cannot even believe that it happened, but it did. Obviously, in a way that is easily perceived or understood clearly. Obviously is something like it's so obvious, so you should know it. Shotgun bullets are bad for your health. Obviously, if they fire you with a gun, you're that's gonna be really bad for your head. Okay. Sadly, something in a sad way. Strangely, in an unusual or surprising way. This tree is grown strangely. Suddenly, it's quickly and unexpectedly. You were not expecting for this. Surprisingly. What other words for surprisingly? Amazingly, astonishingly, unexpectedly, remarkably, uncommonly, unusually, extraordinarily, strangely, something surprisingly. It's basically something in a way that's surprise. Or it's the same as unexpectedly. Both of them are similar. Okay, very good. That was all of grammar or all of the vocabulary for today. We're gonna come back here when we get to the grammar. But for now, let's go to the book. Today we have the unit 12. It's a long story. And in this unit, we're gonna be talking about telling stories and discussing recent activities. That's gonna be for the next lesson. But for now, let's start with this snapshot. True stories of incredible coincidences. Let's see. One day, the American novelist Anne Parrish was in a bookstore in Paris and she saw an old used copy of one of her favorite childhood books. When she opened it, she saw on the first page Anne Parrish, 209 North Weber Street, Colorado Springs. It was Anne's own book. So this girl find a book of the same writer that she was her favorite, their favorite author. So this is really surprising. A 10-year-old girl named Laura Buxton released a bunch of balloons into the air. She attached a note to the balloons that asked the person who found it to write back to her. A couple of weeks later, she received a reply. It was from another 10-year-old girl also named Laura Buxton who lived 150 miles away. So, by communicating through balloons and a note, another girl that is also a 10-year-old named Laura Baxton found it and replied. That is something really, really surprising, something that you will not expect. It's a really hard coincidence. Really interesting. Okay, let's continue. Here we have a perspectives. Let's listen to what happened to these people and check the things that have happened to you. Well, you're not gonna check it, but we can talk a bit about that. But for now, let's listen and read.
Unit 12. It's a long story. Page 78. Exercise 2. Perspectives. What next? Part A. Listen to what happened to these people. Check the things that have happened to you.
I was having lunch when I spilled a cup of coffee on my clothes.
I was driving to the airport to pick up a friend, but I got a flat tire.
I was studying for an important test when the lights went out.
While I was walking down the street, I found a wallet with lots of money.
I was traveling in another country when I met an old school friend.
I was getting off a bus when I slipped and fell on the sidewalk.
While I was shopping one day, a celebrity walked into the store.
Really interesting. A couple of things, good things, bad things. But for me, especially, I think the only one that have happened to me it's this one. While I was shopping one day, a celebrity walked into the store. But imagine Dominican Republic is a small country, so it's normal to see famous people, and I don't care much about that. Have any of these things happened to you before? You can comment them down below. Okay, now let's go to the grammar for today. We have past continuous versus simple past. But before looking at this way that the book is using, let's try to see what past continuous is. You can imagine it already, but if you don't know, let's have some of things. Okay, so the past continuous tense, it's really, really easy. You know, present continuous. I am walking. She is cooking. He is jumping. It is exactly the same thing. It's just that with instead of the verb be in present, it is in past. Instead of am, is, or are, we are using was or were. And then it is exactly the same thing. Instead of she is cooking all morning, in past, it's just she was cooking all morning. Or they were, if it's plural, they were cooking all morning. Okay? It is exactly the same structure. It's just that you need to put the verb be in past. Instead of am, is, or are, it's just was or were. Then everything else is the same. So it's really easy. For the positive, we just use the subject pronoun, was or were, and then the verb plus ing. She was cooking all morning. For the negative, after the verb be, we use not. She was not sleeping when he came home. He They were not sleeping when he came home, for example. Or also, the short form of was not and were not, wasn't and weren't. You can use both of them. And for the questions, is with the present continuous is am I sleeping? Are you cooking? Is he jumping? Are they okay? It's the same. It's just with was or were. Was she sleeping when he came home? Were they playing when I wasn't here? And so on and so forth. It is really easy. But let's see some usage. What usage can we use for past continuous tense? We can use it to describe parallel actions, things that are happening at the same time. For example, while I was washing the dishes, I heard a loud noise. This is something that we're going to be talking exactly today about in the book. But this is one of the examples. While something is happening, another thing happened. To describe what someone was doing at a particular point in time. I was working in the garden all day yesterday. To express interrupted actions in the past. I was driving to work when I crashed my car. To describe repetition and irritation. He was always complaining in class. Those are two different ways to use it. Four different ways to use it. Okay, and let's see some differences between the simple past and the past progressive. With the simple past, we're talking about completed completed actions at a specified time in past, something that occurred in the past and it finished. We also are talking in simple past about ordered event with before and after. You can say what happened first and last. It is usually with a cause effect when we use when or after. It is used for a narrative to tell what things happened, and it interrupts and continuous action. That is exactly what we're going to be seeing today. We can use the simple past to interrupt something that was happening. And we use past progressive for actions in progress over a period of time. In progress at an exact moment in the past, something that was happening in the past. It's something that finished, but it was occurring back then in the past. We can use it for two simultaneous actions, like we saw here, two things that were happening at the same time. And two continuous actions can be interrupted, actions in past. Okay, very good. And let's see some examples. In the past simple, I went there in 2006. We have the past, the present, and the future. This is something that occurred in the past and finished in a moment, and that's it. But in past continuous, I was reading a book when the phone rang. It was something that started occurring in the past, it continued to do, but it finished in the past. Okay? Those are the differences. And here it's saying that continuous actions can be interrupted and with past progressive, and the simple past interrupts a continuous action. That is the grammar for today. We use the past continuous for an action that is in progress in the past, was happening in the past, and then we use the simple past for the action that interrupts that action. For example, I was having lunch when I spilled coffee on my clothes, like what happened to this man. He was drinking coffee when he spilled coffee in his shirt. That's what happened. The action that was occurring in the past was that he was drinking coffee, and the action that interrupts it in simple past, he was drinking coffee when he spilled coffee on his clothes. Okay, that is the use that you can put it for. I was driving to the airport, but I got a flat tire. So he was driving, and then a moment period in the past that interrupted this action of driving. While I was shopping one day, a celebrity walked into the store. That is how you can use this. Basically, something that is happening in the past, and then something that interrupts that in the past. And it is as easy as that. I hope that you understand this. It's something easy, and I know that you're really intelligent. But okay, let's do an exercise to practice this. Okay, we need to complete these sentences and we need to use the correct forms. Maybe sometimes it's past continuous, some other times is simple past. Okay, so take your time to complete this and then we're gonna check. Okay, you finished? Let's check. Okay, my sister was texting while she was driving and she almost crashed her car. We're using the past continuous 2 times here because those were parallel actions. And then here it interrupted that action. And a really bad interruption with the crash. While I was cooking dinner last night, a friend called and I burned the food. So this was happening. So it was the action that happened, and two actions interrupt each other. My father was skiing when he broke his leg in several places. We had our first child while we were living in a tiny apartment. While I was driving in England a few years ago, I realized I was on the wrong side of a road. Oh wow. Once I was reading a good book, but someone told me the ending. That is really bad. No spoilers. My parents met each other while they were working at the same restaurant in Vancouver. In this case, we are using the same thing of an action that was interrupted by other thing, but we're putting it in the beginning. It's something that it's possible you can do that. My parents met each other while they were working at the same restaurant in Vancouver. You can change the order and it's still correct. Okay, if you have those answers, very good. You are correct. Now, let's continue with a listening. Okay, I put it correct. Okay. We're gonna listen to this story about a successful inventor, and you're gonna put the sentences in correct orders from 1 to 8. So we have these 8 sentences, and you need to put the correct order. Then, at the same time, you need to answer the question, how did the invention change his life? So you can listen as much times as you can, so we can get these 2 answers, okay? Okay, let's listen.
Page 80. Exercise 4. Listening. How did it all begin? Part A. Listen to this story about a successful inventor. Put the sentences into the correct order from 1 to 8.
Around 15 years ago, Mark Zuckerberg was a normal high school student. He was living in a quiet town in New York. Today, he is the founder and CEO of Facebook, the world's most popular social networking site. So how did it all begin? When Zuckerberg was only 10 years old, he was already writing computer programs. His father taught him how to program computers, and he loved it. A couple of years later, he wrote his very own messenger program. His program, ZuckNet, connected the computers in his home to the computers in his father's office. While he was studying in high school, he developed a computer program that looked at people's favorite music and recommended new music. Microsoft wanted to buy the program, but Zuckerberg did not accept the offer. In 2002, he entered Harvard University. One night, while he was playing on his computer, he invented a program called FaceMash. FaceMash compared pictures of Harvard students. The program was a success, but the university shut down the site a couple of days later. Many people at Harvard now knew who Zuckerberg was. 3 classmates asked for his help to develop a social networking site for Harvard students. While he was working on that site, he got the idea for Facebook. At first, Facebook was only for Harvard students, but soon people from other universities were using it. Zuckerberg wanted more people to use Facebook, but he needed more money. His friends were also interested in Facebook. Coincidentally, they had the money he needed to create the site. They invested in the site, and Facebook expanded so that anyone who was 13 or older could use it. Today, Mark Zuckerberg lives in California, where he is the chief executive of Facebook. Over 1 billion people use Facebook today, and Zuckerberg is worth over $24 billion.
Okay, very good. Did you get the answers? If not, remember you can listen one more time. But if you did, let's check. Well, number one, Mark Zuckerberg started writing computer programs. Number two, Zuckerberg wrote his very own messenger program. Number three, he created a program that recommended music. Number four, he didn't accept Microsoft's offer. Number five, he invented Face Mash. Number six, three classmates asked for his help. Number seven, his friends invested in Facebook. And number eight, Facebook became available to the public. That is the way that things happened. And you get the answer of part B. How did the invention change his life? Well, the answer is that Mark Zuckerberg is now the chief executive of Facebook. Over 1 billion people use Facebook today. And Zuckerberg is worth over $24 billion. That is way too much money. But okay, very good. If you got those answers, really good. Now, for the lesson for today, we're gonna have an easy word power with the words that we were seeing in the vocabulary for today. With these adverbs, you're gonna be saying if these adverbs are positive, negative, or either. That can be positive or negative, can be neutral, depends on the situation. Okay, so take your time to put the correct type of label. If it's a P for positive, it's an N for negative, or it's E for either or neutral. Okay, you finished? Let's check. Well, the positive ones are fortunately, luckily, and miraculously. The negative ones are sadly and unfortunately. And the ones that can be either, it's coincidentally, strangely, suddenly, surprisingly, and unexpectedly. Basically, all of these before, except for unfortunately, but okay, very good, very good. If you got those answers, very good. Okay, well, that's been everything for today. If I hope that you like this class, and on the next class, we're gonna be continuing with the rest of this unit. And we're gonna be talking about the present perfect continuous. It's gonna be really interesting. Okay, but that's everything for today. So see you on the next time. Bye.